Welcome back. We are here with our December soup series video. We are here with Bridget Vandenbush, our Executive Director at the West Michigan Cancer Center. Bridget, welcome. Thank you for being with us. If you want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure. Well, good morning, everybody, or afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Bridget Vandenbush, and I have been at the West Michigan Cancer Center for over 10 years, but really have had the privilege of being in the Executive Director role for the last 3 years. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. We're happy to have you. And again, we are back at the Hospitality House over here by Borges Hospital. So as always, we are appreciative for their space. And we are going to be making a lemon chicken orzo soup today. Orzo is kind of like it's a noodle of sorts, but it kind of looks like a rice. It cooks like a noodle. It stays in the water, and it definitely expands as it cooks. So that'll be kind of fun to cook with. And we are going to get started. So I have carrots, celery, onion sauteing behind us here, kind of getting going, softening up. You can kind of smell it. And we're going to add some garlic, and then we're going to add some flour here. And then we'll add the base of the soup. So if you would do the honors of the garlic, we're going to do 3 teaspoons of our minced garlic here.
Okay.
And we can kind of step over here. All right. Perfect.
Well, it smells so good.
You
said 3, right?
3, yes. All right. Wonderful. Perfect. Perfect. All right, and if you want to add the flour,
all right.
Perfect. So the flour is just kind of used as like a thickening agent. This soup, I made it a couple weekends ago to practice, and with the orzo and then the flour, it does thicken up pretty good. It's the base of the soup itself is actually just chicken broth.
Sure.
There's not, there's no heavy cream or anything in it, but by the end, it does end up looking like a pretty creamy soup. So we have 6 cups of chicken broth. So we had 2 left in this box here. And we have 4 here, so we'll add this. Now, Bridget, do you do a lot of cooking at home?
I do. Traditionally, we try our best, with kids' sports and whatnot.
Yeah.
We end up probably eating out a couple times a week, but we try to make as much. Soups are great because you can make a big pot of it and then put it away for lunches and things like that.
Exactly.
So we love meals we can get at least 2 out of when we're making stuff.
I agree, and I live alone, so if I can do a couple lunch meals with my leftovers, I'm happy. All right, so we'll kind of let that do its thing.
All right.
For a moment. All right. Now this recipe, like I said, we're gonna season it with Italian seasoning, the lemon juice, the little bit of lemon juice, and then we have some chicken that we'll add up to it. It'll cook in the broth, and then we'll pull it out once it's cooked through, and we'll kind of cut it up into pieces. Okay, so we are gonna add our chicken, and like I said, we just add the full 2 breasts right as is, and they just kind of boil. And then I actually am going to have you add the herb or the Italian seasoning. We're going to do, it calls for a 1/4 teaspoon. I think it needs a little bit more. I don't think it's quite as strong with that. So we'll do 2 quarters. So a 1/2 teaspoon. So if you want to go ahead and do that, and then I will add the chicken. Perfect. Now you mentioned kids. Are your kids picky eaters?
You know what? It's so funny. My daughter, it will pretty much eat anything you put in front of her. My son, it takes him a little bit to warm up to new recipes and new things.
Okay.
Definitely as he gets older, he'll eat more. We used to tease him that he had the orange diet, mac and cheese, pizza, anything that had very bland.
Yes,
very bland
yes,
stuff.
the kids' foods,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Well, good, good. And do they help in the kitchen?
They do, actually. Yep, they're both really good at helping cut up vegetables or add in ingredients and things of that sort. So they do. They really like to help cook.
Lovely. All right, so we're gonna wait till the broth comes to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we put the lid on. We let it cook for about 15 minutes till the chicken is done cooking. And then we kind of are at our next step, which is adding the noodles. Okay, so we have our chicken. The timer just went off. It's been 15 minutes with the lid on. We are going to add the orzo now, and then it'll cook for another 10 minutes, and then we'll pull the chicken out. So there's a little bit of some waiting time with this recipe.
It smells so good, though.
It does, doesn't it? So the one thing I will say is, and I think I mentioned this, the orzo does expand. It kind of pulls in some of the moisture, so it does grow in size. As a result, you may add more broth to make it a little bit brothier, just kind of depending on what kind of soup you want. I feel like with time, it gets almost more like a pasta dish.
The longer you let it sit.
Yes, the more it has time to kind of soak up that broth. But so we will get 10 minutes going for that, and then we'll pull the chicken out.
That's great.
Okay, so the chicken is done. The orzo is just about cooked. So we will pull the chicken out, and I will give you a cutting board. I will keep one for myself. And we're just gonna cube the chicken. So if you want to pull your, let's see here.
Here, I've got my own fork here.
Yeah, if you want to pull your chicken breast out, and we'll just cut it up finely. Not too finely, but you know.
Oh, it cuts super nice.
It really does. Yeah, I don't typically cook my chicken this way. I feel like bake it and then shred it and then just add it. But I kind of feel like this is like a nice way of kind of getting some of the flavor of the soup. Now, Bridget, I'm asking everybody, all of our guests, the same couple of questions during our video.
Okay.
If you had to eat like one food for the rest of your life, it's your all-time favorite food, what would it be?
Raspberries.
Raspberries.
I know,
really?
It's such a weird thing. I love raspberries. I put them pretty much on anything I can.
Okay. All
Obviously
right.
wouldn't put them in my soup.
Sure.
But raspberries are one of my favorite go-to snacks and things of that sort.
They're a good fruit. I think at Target they have like these frozen, like chocolate covered raspberries.
Ooh, I haven't tried those. Those might be right up my alley.
They are, I think they're dark chocolate. I feel like they're in the ice cream department. I think it's more of a dessert treat, but yes. Those are a delicious one. What was the last thing you had today? That's our other one.
Well, I had coffee and a banana with peanut butter.
Okay, all right.
I also like bananas with peanut butter.
Yes,
So.
anything with peanut butter, apples,
Yes.
peanut. Very nice. Yeah, I know we're filming a little bit earlier this morning, today, so it's more breakfast time still. And your least favorite food, would never eat it, would never cook it, would never order it?
It's so funny, mushrooms. I don't mind the flavor of mushrooms, but the texture of mushrooms, I can't do it. So unfortunately, I'm one of those people that will pick off the mushrooms. I'll still eat it, but I just, the texture of mushrooms, I just can't do it.
I'm with you. Mushrooms and olives are like the two things that I feel like.
I love olives. No olives for
I
you?
know. People are like, so pizza, mushrooms, olives, and I'm like, ugh.
Can't do it.
I'm going to be that high maintenance person. So, all right. And once you're done getting your chicken all cut up, we'll add it back.
Okay. I'm surprised at how easy that was to just cut up. And
I know sometimes, and I feel like sometimes cutting it, like cubing it like that, is actually easier than shredding it.
Yeah.
Sometimes shredding, I just feel like I'm like
constantly
really struggling. So we're gonna add the 1 tablespoon of the lemon juice.
Okay.
Thank you. And this is one of those things you could do more or less, depending on your preference. The recipe calls for a tablespoon to start, and I feel like that gave it a pretty good lemon flavor. It wasn't overbearing by any means. And that is that. You season with salt and pepper, so we will do a little dash of salt and a tiny bit of pepper, but that's to taste.
Sure.
And I like to not do too much salt and pepper, just because I feel like that's an easy thing that you can add at the end, depending on your preference. And like I said, if you look at it now, you almost can't even see the orzo just yet. If we let it sit for another 15-20 minutes, it would get a lot thicker. You would start to see that creaminess. Okay, so this obviously some time has elapsed. The orzo has kind of absorbed some of that broth. So like I said, if you want a soupier, brothier soup, you could certainly add another cup or even 2 cups of that chicken broth, because this, the orzo really does expand and gets a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And it does absorb
It's
that.
completely different looking.
It does.
Just in that 25 to 30 minutes, how different it looks.
Exactly. So just kind of depends what you're looking for. Yeah. If you reheat it, like if you put it in some Tupperware, throw it in the fridge and reheat it for later, it's going to be even more thick. And then I would add a little bit of even water when you go to microwave it. So we are all set. We're going to give it a shot now. I realize it's a little early for some soup here in the morning, but we will try it here. And as always, we are leaving it for the guests here of the hospitality house for them to try. All right, so spoon. We'll pull our masks down. All right.
It really is a beautiful soup.
I feel like it's nice for this time of year. It's kind of,
wholesome.
It's kind of like your chicken noodle soup with a little spin on it.
Yeah.
So
delicious.
Too lemony, needs more lemon. What do you think?
Honestly, I think it's perfect. It's got, you can taste a little bit of that Italian seasoning in there. It's the chicken broth really has been absorbed. that chicken is really soft and kind of chewy, so it's very good.
Good. I'm so glad. Anyway, well, thank you so much for being here with us today. As always, we're thankful for the Hospitality House, for the space. We got our groceries from D&W here in the community. So we will put the link to the recipe in the comments. As always, like and subscribe, and we will be back next month with Dr. Mancini.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you.